इन द फर्स्ट स्टेप, या पहिल्या स्टेप मध्ये आपण यामधला पहिला कंपाऊंड स्टडी करतोय, aceto acetic ester, that is ethyl acetoacetate. Now let us see next very important point, synthetic applications of ethyl acetoacetate. Synthetic applications म्हणजे आपण काय स्टडी करणार आहोत, how that ethyl acetoacetate is used to synthesize other organic compound. How this compound is used to prepare other organic compound, किंवा आपण सिंपली त्याला म्हणूया, yes, it's a chemical reactions. Let us see first very simple synthetic application, synthesis of alkyl and dialkyl derivative. Okay. Yes, starting material is acetoacetic ester. This is our active methylene compound. At the center, there is CH2 group. From one side, ketone group, aceto group. From another side, there is the ester group. Okay, this is our acetoacetic ester. किंवा आपण त्याला ethyl acetoacetate असे म्हणतो आहोत. Suppose this compound is treated with the sodium ethoxide. When this compound is treated with the sodium ethoxide, now what should be the possibility? When any active methylene compound is treated with the base, that methylene group loses its one hydrogen and there is a formation of carbanion, and we get the carbanion. Here also there is a formation of carbanion, म्हणजे इथून हायड्रोजन बाहेर पडतो, that C2H5O- and that hydrogen form C2H5OH ethyl alcohol as a byproduct, and carbon having negative charge, and this is nothing but the carbanion intermediate. Now suppose it on further reaction with alkyl halide. Suppose it is treated with the methyl iodide. So what happens here? Carbon having negative charge means there is an electron pair. Now this electron pair, this carbon attack on the methyl group, आणि मग इथला कार्बन आणि हा मिथिल ग्रुप यामध्ये नवीन बॉन्ड तयार होतो. While this bond undergo breaking, electron pair goes towards iodine, it acquires negative charge, म्हणजे इथून I- बाहेर पडतं. मग हा I- आणि इथला मगाशीचा सोडियम, it forms NaI सोडियम आयोडाइड असेल बाय प्रोडक्ट, आणि इथला मिथिल ग्रुप आणि या कार्बन मध्ये नवीन बॉन्डचं फॉर्मेशन होतं, and we get the corresponding methyl derivative. We get the corresponding alkyl derivative, and here byproduct is the sodium iodide. Okay, and thus we get corresponding alkyl derivative, we get corresponding methyl derivative, and such compounds are called alkyl acetoacetic ester. Okay, thus acetoacetic ester, that is ethyl acetoacetate, on reaction with sodium ethoxide and alkyl halide, we get corresponding alkyl derivative. Means in this reaction, one of the hydrogen atom from the methylene group, one of the hydrogen atom from the active methylene group is replaced by alkyl group. So replace होतो alkyl group ना. Actually this reaction takes place in two steps. In first step, hydrogen, actually there is a loss of hydrogen and we get carbanion. That carbanion further react with alkyl halide, and there is formation of new bond between carbon and alkyl group, carbon and methyl group, and we get corresponding methyl derivative. We get corresponding alkyl derivative. Instead of methyl iodide, we can use ethyl iodide, then N-propyl iodide, isopropyl iodide, etc. That is the same type of reaction. Now let us see some more extension. त्यामध्ये मी पुढे extension करतो. Okay, this is our monoalkyl derivative. Now this alkyl derivative further on reaction with sodium ethoxide. थोडंसं excess आपण त्याला react केलेलं आहे sodium ethoxide बरोबर. काय होतं? There is one more hydrogen. या ठिकाणी आणखीन एक हायड्रोजन आहे. Here also that carbon is attached from both sides by electron withdrawing group. Hence this hydrogen is also acidic in nature. Therefore that base abstract that hydrogen, हा दुसरा सुद्धा हायड्रोजन तो बेस घेतो, and here also there is a formation of carbanion, आणि इथं सुद्धा carbanion तयार होतं. म्हणजे मगाशी फर्स्ट स्टेप मध्ये we have prepared monoalkyl derivative. Now that monoalkyl derivative further on reaction with sodium ethoxide, यामधला दुसरा हायड्रोजन बाहेर पडतो. That hydrogen आणि इथला ethoxide ion, it form ethyl alcohol as a byproduct. मग इथं carbon acquires negative charge, and this is nothing but the carbanion. Now this carbanion further on reaction with methyl iodide, त्याची पुन्हा रिएक्शन आपण methyl iodide बरोबर केलं, तर इथला कार्बन आणि मिथिल ग्रुप यामध्ये नवीन बॉन्ड फॉर्म होतो, and we get the dialkyl derivative, that is dimethyl derivative, and thus our acetoacetic ester can be converted into monoalkyl as well as a dialkyl derivative. म्हणजे मोनोअल्किल कधी तयार होईल? suppose we are using equimolar mixture of acetoacetic ester and methyl iodide, we get the monoalkyl derivative. And suppose excess amount मध्ये आपण जर we have used alkyl derivative, alkyl iodide, then we get the dialkyl derivative. This is just about the synthesis of alkyl as well as the dialkyl derivative. Now instead of methyl, we can prepare ethyl as well as diethyl, किंवा आपण एन प्रोपेल डेरिव्हेटिव्ह किंवा डाय एन प्रोपेल डेरिव्हेटिव्ह कोणताही अल्किल डेरिव्हेटिव्ह आपण तयार करू शकतो. मी फक्त एकच एक्झाम्पल या ठिकाणी घेतलेलं आहे मिथिलचं. इन द सेम मॅनर वी कॅन प्रिपेअर अनदर अल्किल डेरिव्हेटिव्ह अल्सो. This is the first synthetic application of ethyl acetoacetate. Now let us see second one. Interesting आहे second one. Synthesis of monobasic acid. Now what is meant by monobasic acid? The acid which having one replaceable hydrogen atom, then it is called monobasic acid. For example, HCl is example of monobasic acid. H2SO4 is example of dibasic acid. किंवा आपण ऑर्गॅनिक ऍसिड मध्ये बघूया, CH3COOH acetic acid is example of monobasic acid. Means in organic compound, the compounds which having one COOH group, which having one carboxylic group, they are monobasic acid in case of organic compound. Okay, now let us see how that monobasic acids are synthesized by using our acetoacetic ester. Okay, this is our starting material, ethyl acetoacetate, किंवा आपण त्याला acetoacetic ester असं म्हणतो. This is interesting reaction. When this compound is treated with the concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Actually, this reaction with concentrated KOH is also called as the ketonic hydrolysis. Here the bond which is near to that carbonyl group, carbonyl carbon, this bond undergo breaking. OH to the one side, hydrogen atom to the another side. म्हणजे इथला बॉन्ड ब्रेक होतो हायड्रॉलिसिस होत असताना, केटॉनिक हायड्रॉलिसिस. कार्बोनिल ग्रुपला OH आणि हायड्रोजन अटॅच होईल कार्बनला. Simultaneously there is one more hydrolyzable group. त्यामध्ये आणखीन एक हायड्रोलायझेबल ग्रुप आहे, कोणता? इस्टर ग्रुप, COO6H5. त्याचंही हायड्रोलिसिस सायमल्टेनियसली होतं. मग इथला बॉन्ड ब्रेक होईल. सपोज हायड्रोजन ऍड्स टू वन साइड, OH ग्रुप ऍड्स टू अनदर साइड, दुसऱ्या बाजूला OH चे ऍडिशन होते. मग या ठिकाणी प्रॉडक्ट काय मिळेल बघा, CH3COOH. CH3COOH, we get acetic acid. Suppose this is first product is the acetic acid, CH3COOH. त्यानंतर सेकंड काय आहे, CH2 आणि एक हायड्रोजन, here also CH3, then there is a COOH. म्हणजे इथेही COOH तयार होईल. ईस्टर ग्रुप कन्वर्ट्स इनटू कार्बोक्सिलिक ग्रुप. ओके, there is one more CH3COOH, second molecule of acetic acid. आणि बाय प्रोडक्ट काय आहे, तर C2H5OH. Ester on hydrolysis give carboxylic acid and alcohol, and thus acetoacetic ester on reaction with concentrated KOH undergo ketonic hydrolysis followed by acid hydrolysis. We get the mixture, we get the acetic acid and alcohol, and thus acetoacetic ester is converted into acetic acid. Means it is example of monobasic acid. It is monobasic acid. It having only one COOH, therefore it is monobasic acid. Okay, let us see another example. यामध्ये आणखीन काही examples आपण बघूया. Suppose this is our starting material, same compound, our active methylene compound, acetoacetic ester. Okay, suppose that acetoacetic ester is in first step that compound is created with the sodium ethoxide and methyl iodide. What should be the reaction? We get carbanion. That carbanion further react with methyl iodide and we get methyl derivative. म्हणजे सिंपली आपण असं म्हणूया, hydrogen atom is replaced by methyl group and thus acetoacetic ester on reaction with sodium ethoxide and methyl iodide. Hydrogen atom is replaced by methyl group, we get the methyl acetoacetic ester. Now that methyl derivative on further reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. म्हणजे डायरेक्टली मी acetoacetic एस्टरचं कॉन्सन्ट्रेटेड KOH बरोबर रिएक्शन नाही केली. पहिल्यांदा आपण त्याचा मिथिल डेरिव्हेटिव्ह तयार केला. इन फर्स्ट स्टेप वी हॅव कन्व्हर्टेड दिस acetoacetic ester into its a methyl derivative and now this methyl derivative further treated with the concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. आता इथं काय होईल, कार्बोनिल ग्रुपला ऍडजस्टंट या बॉन्डचं ब्रेकिंग होतं. OH group adds to the one side. Suppose OH group adds here, hydrogen adds to another side. या कार्बनला हायड्रोजनचे ऍडिशन होते. Simultaneously, ester group also undergo hydrolysis. एका बाजूला OH and to the another side hydrogen adds. फर्स्ट मॉलिक्यूल इज द एसिटिक ऍसिड CH3COOH. सेकंड मॉलिक्यूल कोणता आहे CH3, त्यानंतर इथं असेल हा CH आणि इथला हायड्रोजन CH2 आणि पुढे आहे COOH. बरोबर, इस्टर ग्रुप हायड्रोलाइज इनटू कार्बोक्सिलिक ऍसिड CH3 CH2 COOH, and thus there is a formation of CH3 CH2 COOH. This is nothing but propanoic acid. This is nothing but the propanoic acid. Okay, and byproduct is the same. Ethyl alcohol is the byproduct, and thus in this case we get the propanoic acid. In this case, we get the mixture of two monobasic acid. One is the acetic acid and second is the propanoic acid. Okay, and here also we have synthesized some monobasic acid. Simply acetoacetic ester is hydrolyzed by using concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. We get the acetic acid. But acetoacetic ester first converts into corresponding methyl derivative, and then that methyl derivative allow to ketonic hydrolysis and acidic hydrolysis. But we get the different carboxylic acid, acetic acid, propanoic acid, and ethyl alcohol. Okay, this is again interesting example. Let us see one more interesting example regarding the same reaction. I will take example. Next example. Suppose that acetoacetic ester is treated with sodium ethoxide and ethyl iodide. What should be the reaction? Simply hydrogen atom from the active methylene group is replaced by ethyl group. It is replaced by ethyl group and we get corresponding ethyl derivative. Here also in first step there is a formation of carbanion. That carbanion further react with ethyl iodide and we get the corresponding ethyl derivative. Okay, now this ethyl derivative further on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Here also there is the same type of reaction. It undergoes ketonic hydrolysis. म्हणजे कसं होतं तर ही जी पोझिशन आहे या ठिकाणचा बॉन्ड ब्रेक होईल. OH adds to the one side, again hydrogen adds to another side. या कार्बनला हायड्रोजनचे ऍडिशन होते. Simultaneously that ester group undergo hydrolysis and here hydrogen adds to one side. Here also OH group adds to another side. म्हणजे इथं काय प्रोडक्ट मिळेल आपल्याला? फर्स्ट प्रोडक्ट असेल CH3COOH, acetic acid is the common. त्यानंतर सेकंड कोणता आहे बघा CH3 CH2 CH2 COOH. Okay, and thus there is the formation of CH3 CH2 CH2 COOH. This is nothing but the butanoic acid and byproduct is the same, ethyl alcohol. And thus in this case we get a mixture of acetic acid and butanoic acid. Thus acetoacetic ester in first step on reaction with sodium ethoxide and ethyl iodide, we get the ethyl derivative which on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis, we get a mixture of acetic acid and butanoic acid. Now let us see one more example. This is the dimethyl derivative of acetoacetic ester. How that dimethyl derivative is prepared? Ethyl acetoacetate is treated with the sodium ethoxide and excess of methyl iodide. One by one, both the hydrogen atoms of methylene group, इथले दोन्ही hydrogen, they are replaced by methyl group, and we get the dimethyl derivative of ethyl acetoacetate. Okay, now this dimethyl derivative on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Here also same type of ketonic hydrolysis takes place. म्हणजे एका बाजूला to the one side OH group adds म्हणजे वॉटरचे ऍडिशन होते. इथं हायड्रोजनचे ईस्टर ग्रुप ऑल्सो अंडरगो हायड्रोलिसिस म्हणजे त्यापासून तयार होईल अल्कोहॉल आणि COOH ईस्टर ग्रुप पासून. ओके, म्हणजे या ठिकाणी प्रॉडक्ट कसा असेल बघा. हिअर ऑल्सो वन कंपाऊंड इज CH3COOH एसिटिक ऍसिड. दुसरा कोणता आहे CH3 CH3 अँड COOH. बरोबर, CH3 मी फक्त इथला वरचा जो मिथिल ग्रुप आहे हा जो मिथिल ग्रुप आहे तो इथं दाखवलेला आहे. दिस मिथिल ग्रुप CH3 CH खालच्या बाजूला CH3 and there is one carboxylic group and byproduct is the again same ethanol. Okay, this is just about the that what is the name of compound? Yes, it is isobutyric acid. That compound is isobutyric acid किंवा आपण त्याला 2-methyl propanoic acid असे म्हणतो आहोत. Okay, thus dimethyl derivative of ethyl acetoacetate, dimethyl derivative of acetoacetic ester on ketonic hydrolysis, we get a mixture of acetic acid and isobutyric acid. Okay, this is the interesting reaction, just synthesis of monobasic acid. यामध्ये आपण 4 एक्झाम्पल पाहिलेले आहेत सिंथेसिस ऑफ मोनोबेसिक ऍसिड मध्ये. फर्स्ट, डायरेक्टली acetic एस्टरचं आपण हायड्रोलायसिस केलं, वी गेट ओनली acetic acid. directly acetoacetic ester on hydrolysis, we get the only acetic acid. Second आहे, suppose methyl derivative on hydrolysis, we get mixture of acetic acid and propanoic acid. In case of methyl derivative, we get acetic acid and propanoic acid. While in the case of तीसरा आहे example, in the case of ethyl derivative, we get mixture of acetic acid and butanoic acid. While fourth example, in the case of dimethyl derivative, we get the mixture of acetic acid and isobutyric acid. Okay, this is interesting reaction. Okay, this is just about the synthesis of monobasic acid. Now let us see one more interesting synthetic application, synthesis of dibasic acid. Now what is meant by dibasic? Yes, the compounds which having two replaceable hydrogen atom. Means in the case of organic compound, we can say that suppose there are two carboxylic groups, then it is a dibasic compound. Okay, this is our starting material, acetoacetic ester. Now this compound first on reaction with sodium ethoxide. What should be the first step on reaction with sodium ethoxide? There is a formation of carbanion. We get carbanion in first step. Suppose there is a formation of carbanion. Now in next step, when that carbanion is created with this interesting compound. What is the name of this compound? Cl, CH2, COOC2H5. This is called ethyl chloroacetate. This compound is called ethyl chloroacetate. Okay, thus in first step, acetoacetic ester is created with the base. We get carbanion. That carbanion first created with the ethyl chloroacetate. It is example of alpha halo ester. Name of the compound is ethyl chloroacetate. What happens here? Two molecule undergo condensation. म्हणजे इथून जो negative charge आहे, means there is an electron pair. This electron pair form a bond with this carbon. याला मी मार्क करतो. It form a bond with carbon. म्हणजे इथून काय बाहेर पडेल? हा बॉन्डचं ब्रेकिंग होतं आणि इलेक्ट्रॉन पेअर क्लोरीन कडे जातं, Cl- बाहेर पडेल. म्हणजे इथला हा कार्बन याला मी मार्क केलेला आहे. There is a formation of bond between that CH2 आणि इथला CH. या दोन्ही मध्ये नवीन बॉन्डचं फॉर्मेशन होतं. इथून बाहेर पडेल Cl आणि इथला जो सोडियम मगाशीचा होता त्यापासून तयार होईल NaCl. Now that two molecule undergo condensation and we get the intermediate. म्हणजे बघा हा जो इथला CH2COOC2H5 आहे तो इथं मी खाली दाखवलेला आहे CH2COOC2H5 बरोबर. आणि इथला वरचा कार्बन जो आहे त्या वरच्या कार्बन आणि इथल्या CH2 मध्ये या CH2 मध्ये नवीन बॉन्डचं फॉर्मेशन. This is the new bond. Okay, and we get the condensed product. Now let us see next step. When this compound is created with the concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Now again here same type of ketonic hydrolysis takes place. We are using concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Same type of reaction occurs. म्हणजे काय होईल? The bond adjacent to that carbonyl group undergo breaking. OH group adds to this one side, hydrogen adds to another side. दुसऱ्या बाजूला हायड्रोजनचे ऍडिशन होते. Simultaneously, that ester groups also undergo hydrolysis. Here there are two ester groups, and therefore both the ester groups undergo hydrolysis. म्हणजे इथला बॉन्ड ब्रेक होईल. Hydrogen supposed to the one side, OH group to the another side. Here that second ester group also undergo hydrolysis. Here also hydrogen to the one side, OH group to the another side. म्हणजे इथं दोन ester group and one ketonic group चा hydrolysis होतं and we get the corresponding product. Product कसा असेल बघा, CH3COOH. First product is the same acetic acid, no doubt about that. Second पुन्हा काय आहे बघा इथं CH2 हा असेल CH2 group, CH2COOH. Again there is a CH2COOH, means we get the CH2COOH, and that compound is nothing but the succinic acid. It is example of dibasic acid. It having two carboxylic groups, therefore it is dibasic acid, and thus we get the succinic acid. And here byproduct is the two molecules of ethanol, and thus acetoacetic ester on reaction with sodium ethoxide and ethyl chloroacetate. First we get the condensed product and it on further reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. We get the mixture of two carboxylic acid. One is the acetic acid and second is the succinic acid, and succinic is the example of dibasic acid. Okay, this is again interesting reaction. synthesis of dibasic acid. Let us see next example or next synthetic application, synthesis of unsaturated carboxylic acid. What is meant by unsaturated? Suppose that carboxylic acid having carbon-carbon double bond. If there is a C double bond C, then that compound is called unsaturated carboxylic acid. Now let us see the reaction. Okay, again, here we are using benzaldehyde. We are using benzaldehyde. Then when that benzaldehyde is created with the acetoacetic ester. Acetoacetic ester is our active methylene compound. Now what happens here? That acetoacetic ester and benzaldehyde, this reaction is carried out in presence of base. Here we are using pyridine as a base. Yeah, active methylene group madle that two hydrogen atoms from the active methylene group. That two hydrogen, and here this oxygen atom from the carbonyl compound, oxygen atom from the aldehyde, benzaldehyde, it forms water molecule as a byproduct. I have written minus H2O on the arrow, and that two molecules condense together to form corresponding product. This is the corresponding product. Now this carbon, this is the carbon, and double bond appears in between that two carbon. This is the double bond. म्हणजे इथला कार्बन आणि या बेंझाल्डिहाइड मधला कार्बन यामध्ये डबल बॉन्ड आहे. So this is simple condensation. Okay, this is just a condensation between benzaldehyde and acetoacetic ester. Now this condensed product further on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Again here there is same type of reaction. मग या शेजारचा जो आहे तो बॉन्ड ब्रेक होतो. एका बाजूला ऍडिशन होईल OH ची, दुसऱ्या बाजूला ऍडिशन होते हायड्रोजनची. Simultaneously that ester group undergo hydrolysis. Here also hydrogen adds to one side, OH group adds to another side, and we get the mixture of carboxylic acid. मग कसं तयार होईल? CH3COOH acetic acid is the one carboxylic acid. त्यानंतर सेकंड कोणता आहे? C6H5 then CH double bond CH and COOH. Right, C6H5, CH, double bond CH, COOH. Thus, this is the second product, C6H5, CH, double bond CH, COOH, and this is called cinnamic acid. And this is example of alpha beta unsaturated acid. Why it is alpha beta? Because this carbon is alpha, this one is the beta, double bond is present in between alpha and beta carbon. Hence, it is called alpha beta unsaturated acid. This is the name of particular compound is a cinnamic acid. Okay, and byproduct is the same, ethanol, and thus we have synthesized unsaturated carboxylic acid by using acetoacetic ester. Acetoacetic ester first condensed with benzaldehyde in presence of pyridine. We get the condensed product. Now that condensed product further on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Same type of ketonic hydrolysis is there. We get the mixture of acetic acid, cinnamic acid, and ethanol is the byproduct. Let us see one more example. यामध्ये आणखी एक example. मी फक्त aldehyde change करतो. Instead of benzaldehyde, I will take the example of acetaldehyde. CH3CHO. This is acetaldehyde. On a reaction with acetoacetic ester, suppose reaction is carried out in presence of base pyridine. Yes, that two molecule undergo condensation. That two hydrogen atom and one oxygen atom from the aldehyde, it forms H2O as a byproduct. मग इथला जो कार्बन आहे, this carbon आणि इथला जो CH आहे, या दोन्हीच्या मध्ये double bond येईल and we get the corresponding condensed product. Now this condensed product further on reaction with concentrated KOH followed by acid hydrolysis. Here also same type of reaction of या carbonyl group जवळचा bond break होतो. एका बाजूला OH addition to the another side hydrogen adds. Simultaneously ester group undergo hydrolysis. Hydrogen adds to one side, एका बाजूला hydrogen, and OH group adds to another side. मग इथं सुद्धा we get the mixture of carboxylic acid. मग कसं असेल? CH3COOH acetic acid is the main product. Then CH3, CH, double bond CH and COOH. There is the formation of CH3, CH, double bond CH, COOH, and this compound is also alpha beta unsaturated acid. Name of the compound is the crotonic acid. Compound is the crotonic acid, and byproduct is again ethanol. And thus we can prepare unsaturated acid. We have studied two examples regarding unsaturated. One is the cinnamic acid and second is the crotonic acid. आता यामध्ये एकच फक्त ऍप्लिकेशन बाकी आहे, सिंथेसिस ऑफ हेटेरोसायक्लिक कंपाऊंड. थोडंसं डायरेक्ट रिएक्शन दाखवतोय आपण. या ठिकाणी घेतलेला आहे इथिल एसिटोएसिटेट. सेम कंपाऊंड इज दिस इथिल एसिटोएसिटेट, फक्त थोडंसं वेगळ्या पद्धतीने मांडलेलं आहे. Now this compound is created with the phenyl hydrazine. C6H5 NH2. This is the phenylhydrazine, and that reaction is carried out at high temperature. Now that phenylhydrazine and ethyl acetoacetate, phenylhydrazine and active ethyl compound, they undergo condensation. Here this OC2H5 and here hydrogen, यामधला हायड्रोजन त्यापासून तयार होईल इथिल अल्कोहोल. मग इथं हा नायट्रोजन आणि कार्बन यामध्ये नवीन बॉन्ड तयार होतो. सायमल्टेनियसली इथला ऑक्सिजन आणि या NH2 मधले फिनिल हायड्रोजन मधला NH2 मधले दोन हायड्रोजन वॉटर मॉलिक्यूल तयार होतो H2O. मग इथला नायट्रोजन आणि हा जो कार्बन आहे त्यामध्ये येतो डबल बॉन्ड. बघा इथला डबल बॉन्ड तयार होतोय आणि वरच्या बाजूला कार्बोनिल ग्रुप आणि नायट्रोजन, इथं सिंगल बॉन्ड तयार होतोय. अँड वी गेट corresponding product, and this is called as the antipyrine. Name of the compound is antipyrine, and it is example of heterocyclic compound. Now what is meant by heterocyclic compound? Generally cyclic compounds are made from the carbon. Generally cyclic compounds are made from the carbon. For example, benzene, cyclohexane, cyclopropane, cyclobutane, cyclopentane, AD. They are made from the carbon. But suppose that cyclic compound having other than carbon, जर त्या सायक्लिक कंपाऊंड मध्ये एखादा आयटम आहे which is other than carbon, for example here there are two nitrogen, then that compound is called heterocyclic compound. Here we have prepared heterocyclic compound by using this particular reaction, and that compound is the name of the compound is a antipyrine. Antipyrine is an important drug, the chemical compound which is used for the treatment of disease. Okay, and this is antipyretic drug. Antipyretic म्हणजे काय, तर fever कंडिशन मध्ये जर टेम्परेचर कमी करण्याकरिता जे केमिकल कंपाऊंड आपण वापरतो, जे मेडिसिन वापरतो, these are called antipyretics. Okay, for example, paracetamol. Paracetamol is best example of antipyretic, and similar to paracetamol, this antipyrine also used. हे सुद्धा यूज केलं जातं to bring down the body temperature at normal level, similar to paracetamol. आणि या कंपाऊंडचं नाव आहे antipyrine, and that antipyrine can be synthesized by using our active ethylene compound, by using our ethyl acetoacetate. Okay, this is the first example. यामध्ये आणखीन एक एक्झाम्पल बघूया. मी काय करतो, आपला ethyl acetoacetate घेतो, फक्त त्याचा इनॉल फॉर्म. मग इनॉल फॉर्म जो आहे acetoacetic एस्टरचा इथिल एसिड, when it is treated with the urea, त्याची रिएक्शन आपण करतोय NH2 C double bond 4 NH2 युरिया बरोबर in presence of POCl3 च्या सानिध्यामध्ये काय होतं, here also that two molecules undergo condensation. मग इथं सुद्धा यामधला OC2H5 आणि इथला एक हायड्रोजन C2H5 OH म्हणून बाहेर पडेल आणि there is the formation of new bond. This is the new bond. हा नवीन बॉन्ड तयार होतो. ओके, सायमल्टेनियसली इथला OH आणि यामधला एक हायड्रोजन बाहेर पडतो. या दोन्हीच्याही मध्ये या ठिकाणी नवीन बॉन्ड तयार होतो. इथून वॉटर मॉलिक्यूल बाहेर पडलेला आहे. I have shown on the arrow -H2O, and thus here also there is the formation of 6-membered cyclic compound, and that cyclic compound also having nitrogen, means there is a other than carbon. This atom is other than carbon, hence it is example of heterocyclic compound. Name of the compound is a 4-methyl uracil. It is 4-methyl uracil, and that compound also used to further treatment of urinary diseases. Urinary diseases च्या ट्रीटमेंट मध्ये या कंपाऊंडचा उपयोग केला जातो. This is the 4-methyl uracil. Okay, thus ethyl acetoacetate on reaction with phenylhydrazine we get the antipyrine, while that compound on reaction with the urea again undergo condensation we get the 4-methyl uracil. In both cases we are getting heterocyclic compound. Okay, this is just about the synthetic applications of first active methylene compound. Yes, ethyl acetoacetate. In the introduction, we have studied what is meant by active methylene compound. What is active methylene group? आणि मग या टॉपिक मध्ये दोन कंपाऊंडचं डिस्कशन आपण करतोय. त्यामधला फर्स्ट कंपाऊंड जो आहे त्याचं डिस्कशन कंप्लीट झालेलं आहे. फर्स्ट कंपाऊंडचं नाव आहे इथिल acetoacetate, किंवा आपण त्याला acetoacetic ester असं म्हणतो. यामध्ये आपण इंट्रोडक्शन स्टडी केलेलं आहे. त्याचबरोबर हाऊ दिस कंपाऊंड इज प्रिपेअर्ड इन लॅबोरेटरी, क्लेन्स अँड कंडेन्सेशन ही मेथड आपण पाहिलं विथ मेकॅनिझम. त्यानंतर आपण पाहिलं ऍसिडिक नेचर ऑफ मिथिलीन हायड्रोजन, हाऊ दॅट हायड्रोजन्स आर ऍसिडिक, व्हाय दॅट मिथिलीन ग्रुप इज ऍक्टिव्ह, हे त्यामध्ये आपण पाहिलं. थर्ड पॉइंट आपण पाहिला कीटो इनॉल टॅटोमेरिझम. यामध्ये कीटो इनॉल टॅटोमेरिझम आपण पाहिलं, हाऊ दिस कंपाऊंड शोज कीटो इनॉल टॅटोमेरिझम. आणि फोर्थ पॉईंट यामधला सिंथेटिक ऍप्लिकेशन्स ऑफ इथिल एसिटोएसिटेट. या कंपाऊंडचे सिंथेटिक ऍप्लिकेशन मीन्स हाऊ दिस कंपाऊंड इज युज्ड फॉर द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ अदर ऑर्गॅनिक कंपाऊंड हे आपण पाहिलं. किंवा सिंपली आपण म्हणू शकतो केमिकल रिएक्शन्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिक्युलर इथिल एसिटोएसिटेट. ओके, दिस इज अबाउट फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द टॉपिक.